All right, well, that is going to do it. Thanks to Naughty Dog and PlayStation for that very special look at The Last of Us and the entire franchise. All right, Summer Game Fest continues over the next 2 days. Coming up
I'm actually so relieved that happened. I'm so happy. You lot watch for Sonic.
Tomorrow, we've got Netflix Geek Showcase streaming.
You lot really only showed up for Sonic.
And then finally Sunday, it's the Xbox and Bethesda at summergamefest.com. When we are back live in Cologne, Germany.
Oh my god. You lot all watch for Sonic.
Will return in December live from the Microsoft Theater. And finally,
it was worth it.
Summer Game Fest
this whole thing was worth it.
As a digital and
this whole thing was worth it now.
Thanks for being a part of Summer Game Fest.
The payoff was worth it. The payoff was worth it.
We'll see you soon.
I streamed on the non-Sonic channel. None. The chat? No. Why the fuck would you watch a 2-hour event?
Birthday to you.
2-hour event.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday.
For one thing. Alright, so we got some big news to talk about regarding our Lord and Savior the Sonic the Hedgehog concerning Sonic Frontiers and Sonic Origins. With Frontiers getting some story details and Sonic Origins getting something that pretty much we should have expected, and I expected it, but people didn't want to believe me, but it's happened now. So we're gonna get into all of this right now. But if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please make sure to subscribe. We are trying to hit 100,000 subscribers and hopefully 70,000 subscribers before Sonic Frontiers comes out. So we're gonna start the Sonic Origins news and then we're gonna move on to Sonic Frontiers. So as we know, they've been showing a lot of Sonic Origins gameplay, but they've been very careful to not show the Michael Jackson stages in Sonic 3, which apparently Michael Jackson didn't do most of the music. He actually got his producers to do the dirty work for him because, you know, that's what celebrities do, right? They get the dirty work done for them by the lower level guy. Producer did a lot of the tracks. Michael Jackson only worked on one of them. According to Tails channel, there was an interview with Brad Buxer or whatever, and he said that. I'm not going to get into that properly, but I just wanted to bring that up. Nonetheless, it's all involved in the same Michael Jackson songs. People wanted to know if the MJ music was coming back, and Zippo said it wasn't, and I believed him because, come on, it's the MJ music. They never bring it back unless they're emulating the game, which they're not here, so it was pretty clear that it wasn't going to come back. Nonetheless, people were doubting me in comment sections, and it's been confirmed that it's not coming back. Now, if that was just the news, I wouldn't have made a video on it because I feel like this was obvious shit, but it's because they gave a little bit more details on what we can expect with the replacement, which is why we're covering this. So Tails channel tweeted about it, and this is from the Sonic official live stream. It said, "We can't use all of the original sounds from Sonic 3 and K. Jun Sonoe has been working really hard to adapt the original music that was composed in 1993 for Origins. It was also added that Sonoe is reproducing portions of the Sonic 3 and Knuckles soundtrack in Sonic Origins with the same sound chip from the Sega Genesis and using his own digital audio tape collection to make it as faithful to the original as possible." And I'm gonna play the full clip here.
In Sonic 3 and Knuckles. So while unfortunately we can't use all of the original sounds from the Sega Genesis version of the game, Jun Sonoe has been working really hard to adapt the original music that was composed in 1993 for Sonic Origins. And he's been going so far as reproducing it with the same sound chip from the Sega Genesis and using his own digital audio tape collection to make this like as faithful to the originals as possible. And I'm hoping we can get Jun on stream.
So this is pretty interesting because they talk about making it as faithful as possible. I don't know if they're talking about just like the Genesis like sound font or if they mean like the melodies. Like, are they gonna try and make some kind of similar sounding melodies where it's like you clearly took the groove from the original Hard Times or whatever, but you tweaked it enough that you can't get sued kind of thing? You know, like most musicians do. They just take melodies from previous songs, edit them a little bit so they can't get in trouble legally, but everyone knows, hey, that sounds like that song. Are they gonna go for something like that? Some people are saying they meant that they were gonna take from the prototype music, which I don't know if that's the case, but I didn't watch the full Sonic stream. Nonetheless, I really hope they're not just gonna take the prototype music because I've listened to that shit and it was not as good as the Michael Jackson shit. I really want them to try and do like a knockoff version of it where they just rip the groove of it and maybe change it slightly, because let's face it, I don't want to boot up Ice Cap and hear this. nonetheless, it's not the end of the world because I'm only going to hear this music like once, because if it's mid, then I'll just put on the mods and get my original music back. And even if it's good, I'm probably not going to prefer it to Hard Times, just to be real. So I'm probably still going to put the original music back on anyway. But I'll hear it once, like brand new playthrough. I'll give it a fair shot. I mean, what if it's completely original music, like completely new melodies, nothing resembling anything that happened before? That's also a bad idea, but I mean, what can they do? They can't use the originals, right? It's all kind of fucked, but on PC, we still Gucci at the end of the day. On my Steam Deck, I'm going to be using the mods. It's only on Switch, where I wanted to use it with my Switch OLED. That would have been nice. That's the only place where I won't be able to experience the original music, I guess. But anyway, on to Sonic Frontiers. As you know, we've been getting a ton of gameplay for Frontiers, a ton of content on Frontiers, because they signed a deal with IGN for the whole of June. And I don't know why after they signed a deal with IGN for the whole of June, people thought we were going to see it at Summer Game Fest, but I guess people were just desperate for that news, right? Nonetheless, Ian Flynn, who is writing the story for Sonic Frontiers and is hailed as someone who can write, well, better stories than Pontaff at least, has been letting things slip on his podcast yet again. And it says here, so according to Ian's latest Bumblecast Q&A, Sonic Frontiers story will be kind of dark and more similar to 2000s stories. And we've got a clip here and we're going to play it.
On Sonic 06 and Shadow the Hedgehog, Sega would be more lenient in exploring ideas touched upon in those games, dark/tragic themes, dystopian settings, etc. Or Sonic's identity now too straight away from that edge it had in the early 2000s?
At the risk of crossing a line, I'm going to say play Sonic Frontiers and then come back to me on that one.
Uh-oh. Ow, the edge.
Not like that edge.
So obviously he's being a bit coy here because he doesn't want to break his non-disclosure agreements, but he's basically given off the impression that it's going to be borrowing some of those darker elements from the 2000s games, right? Which is what we want to see, right? Stories that are actually pretty decent. Now you're probably thinking, does this make me more hyped for Sonic Frontiers? And I don't know, like at the end of the day, it'll be good to see an actual good story from the meta era voice cast because we haven't seen one yet. But at the same time, it's still the meta era voice cast. If it's still Kirk Thornton voicing Shadow, if he's in the game, if it's still Roger voicing Sonic, that nice story is still going through that lens of that voice acting. And before you go, you hate Roger Prem. No, I don't hate Roger. He voiced Ezio. Ezio is goated. I'm just saying he's not my Sonic. And yes, Roger with a better story is better than Roger with a cringe story, but it's not gonna carry the game for me or anything like that. Very rarely do I play a game for story and not gameplay. I mean, good story is good. Like Ezio Trilogy has great story, but I still love the gameplay more than the story. Now, for those of you who play Sonic games for story more than gameplay, first of all, I'm deeply sorry that you had to live through the 2010s. But second of all, maybe you might like Frontiers more because of that. I mean, I deadass did a poll on my channel asking what are you most hyped to see next regarding Frontiers, and I pretty much put everything I could think of minus music because I was out of poll options. And story was like by far the highest option on the thing. Like, how could you be more hyped for story than actually seeing the levels and the islands and the gameplay, right? But I guess people have given up on the gameplay. They're like, oh, we seen the gameplay. Like, this is not looking the greatest. Maybe the story will save it. I'm hyped to see that. Yeah, that will be good. So I guess we'll see what Ian Flynn is able to come up with now that he's writing for a Sonic game. Hopefully they let the chains off of him so he can do a good job. And maybe Roger finally gets one good story in his long run as the voice of Sonic. Long run. Long. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this situation. Sonic Origins is not going to be using the sweet and sexy MJ music, so we're going to have to put mods on that shit. Or if you're on PC, console fans are going to have to deal with the new music. And Sonic Frontiers story is looking like it could be pretty good. Pretty good. Obviously, we've got the Iizuka interview coming up. I'm going to be streaming that live. We'll see what Daddy Zook has to say to defend his decision to make another game that feels like Forces, but in the open world. And of course, a big shout out to all my channel members. If you want to become a channel member, you can click the join button next to the subscribe button. But yeah, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell. Make sure to check out the non-Sonic channel. The link will be in the description. But that's all I have to say right now. So, Premy out.